this is temporary. So enjoy it now.
Yeah.
If it's absolutely shit, this is temporary. Even though at the time my heart was smashed into a million pieces and it was so hard for me to get up every day, I needed it.
You know us, three baddies.
We're so bad.
So bad.
Coming to get ya.
What are you doing this morning?
Okay, weirdly, I was researching charisma.
Oh, no.
I was researching.
Like the meaning of charisma.
Well, how to be charismatic.
Yeah.
I was researching it.
And what did the internet say?
I think if you've got to research charisma, you're probably not like, it's got to come naturally. So.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
Sarah Roberts, you don't need to research charisma.
We have Jess Redmayne on our podcast.
And she's looking very sexy, may I say. She's got the boots, she's got the small skirt. So if you guys want, you can
Small skirt? Oh, you better watch the video.
watch the video. You won't be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. Fire away, Sebo.
Oh, we want to go back to charisma, do we?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What's the definition?
Well, it's just one little tidbit to help you be charismatic, apparently, is you need to show if you're meeting someone or you're on video, you have to show your hands in the first 10 seconds. So if you're...
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Really? What have your hands got to do with charisma?
Well, apparently it disarms people, and so then you seem more charismatic to them. I don't know. I mean...
How about you get a personality? That'll probably do it. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe it hides the fact that you're not charismatic because they're so distracted.
Because they're distracted by your hands.
They're going, man, she moves her hands a lot.
To be honest, I was looking up how to be charismatic because our guest is so charismatic.
You're joking. That's
I'm
not
not
why
joking.
you were Googling it.
I'm not joking.
That's so
You're
sweet.
just so... was that a really bad segue?
No, I just can't handle the fact you were Googling that. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to bring it up later.
Yeah, because we're quite geeky with our guests. Like, we research a lot and, well, we call it stalking. And I sort of ran out of things to research about you and I was like, oh.
Because I'm not interested.
No, because we looked it all up yesterday and there was just so much and we wrote a few pages about you. But you're just so effervescent, full of life, so bubbly, so fucking talented.
You're here to launch Steel Magnolias in Melbourne, which is very exciting. Let's talk about it.
So it started out as a play. It was written in, I think, like 90s, or it hit Broadway in 97, and then they turned it into the iconic film that stars Julia Roberts and Sally Fields, Dolly Parton, Shirley MacLaine, and that came out in 89. I think Julia Roberts won the Oscar for it. It's a beautiful story written by Robert Harling, and it's true. So it's a true story about his sister Shelby. Her real name was Susan, and about her life navigating diabetes and wanting to have children, and what that's like. And we see over the course of the play her relationship with her mum, and we see her navigating this diabetes and having a baby. And I guess I won't give any spoilers, or shall I? I mean, we all know this beautiful story, but she does lose her life, and at a very ripe age of, I think, 27 or 28. And it's just a beautiful story that he wrote about his sister and the women that he knew in Louisiana, that his mum's friends. And it's a gorgeous story about friendship and the trials and tribulations that you face in life. And I think the beauty within it is the women and how they support and hold each other up. And I think that's why it still resonates today, because our audiences, fortunately, you know, they do. We have raucous laughter, which is so wonderful, but then we do hear them sniffing and crying, because it's a real emotional roller coaster, this play, and we're quite fortunate to get to tell it. I have really enjoyed. I didn't think I would. Theatre is a weird beast because you're telling the same story every night, sometimes twice a day, and that can be really hard. And I thought that I would really start to struggle with that, because I want to get on to the next thing, you know, learn a new script or whatever. But this particular play, I don't want to let it go. I just love it so much. I love performing it. It's beautiful.
How do you get in and out of playing Shelby? And also, I'm very aware, and I hope you don't mind us bringing this up, that your mum passed away just recently. And the subject matter is you explore grief in this play. How are you able to do that? Do you want to elaborate on that?
It's a great question. I literally got asked this question a couple of days ago. A friend of mine, Brendan Delahaye, asked me, how am I going with doing this show? How am I managing to de-roll each night? And I said to him, do you know what? It's actually a lot easier than I anticipated because I am playing a really optimistic character. She's so full of life. She desperately wants to have a child. She desperately wants to live to the fullest. One of the greatest lines in the show is, I would rather 30 minutes of wonderful than a lifetime of nothing special. And that,
I love
I'm going to cry even saying it because every night it's such an extraordinary line. And I get to play that character that right till the end, she feels that way. And then I leave stage and then you don't see me again. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But I'm quite fortunate that I'm not on stage performing the grief. The rest of the company, the other 5 women are. They have to be on stage and perform the loss of Shelby, particularly Lisa McCune, who does an extraordinary job playing my mum, Malin. She does this beautiful monologue about grief and about losing her daughter. But I'm quite lucky that I get to go to my dressing room and start to kind of de-roll, I guess, and decompress. And it's quite joyous in that way, which is kind of probably why I've really, really enjoyed doing it and don't want to let it go because it is so rewarding to do this play.
And how do you decompress at the end of the night? What are the things you do?
Yeah, so I very simply, one of my main key things is take off my character jewellery and put my Jess jewellery back on, which one thing is my mum's engagement ring. I put that back on and I've worn it for years now. And I think that specifically, it kind of, if you actively do it and you're kind of saying, you know, goodbye Shelby, goodbye Harper, goodbye Pop, whatever the character is that I played Daisy in The Great Gatsby years ago and I didn't do that. And Daisy's she's a vulnerable sort of delicate flower of a character and I really struggled to play that character like over and over again because she was so delicate. But now that I'm older and I know better, I am really conscious of that action of taking off character jewellery and putting my own on and telling myself I'm not Shelby, I am Jess. And then I get in my car and I go home.
Great. I love it.
That's such a great technique. So it's almost like you put her away in a little box.
Yeah, and leave her at the theatre.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a scene also in the play where something happens to you in the hairdressers and you have to go to quite an emotional state. And I was wondering, watching that, are you able to reach that place every night with doing theatre? Or are there some nights where you're like, oh, how am I going to get here? Or does it just come naturally to you, Jess?
I definitely sometimes think, oh, goodness, am I going to get there tonight? Do I have it in the tank? With that particular episode, and again, it's going to be a little bit spoilery, but it's a choreographed routine essentially because it's not just me, it's a lot of other actors moving around me, holding up my head, there's a lot to it. I'm having to physically do some form of choreography to show to the back row of the theatre that I am having a physical, it's a diabetic episode. So if you have seen the film, you know that Julia Roberts has this diabetic episode in the hair salon and we see her and it's quite extraordinary because the camera gets really close on her and you can see her start to perspire and I have always wondered for years, how did she do that? How did she literally starts to sweat and I'm not surprised she won an Oscar. It's an extraordinary performance. But when we're doing it in a theatre to, you know, a 1,300 seat theatre, you have to make it bigger because the back row is quite far away. So physically I have to get into a place, and I do have Lisa and Mandy and my fellow actors around me doing specific things because they're trying to help her get out of this diabetic episode. So I have to be conscious of that. I can never go too far because I have to be aware and I guess supportive of my actors and what their job is. So it's really a bit of a dance. It's a bit of a choreographed dance. But I definitely have some nights where I'm like, oh, am I going to have the emotional depth to get there tonight? And I'll be honest, there have been some performances where I haven't, and I'll kick myself a little bit initially, but then I go, get over it, just get over it. You've got a show, you know, you've still got the rest of the show to do, and you've got a job to do, and you need to give these audience members who have paid good money to see you need to give them the show. And so, yeah, I try not to. The more I think about it, the harder it is. So I've learnt that don't think about it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. You know that it's there, and just do it and just get on with it.
That's so brilliant, like a trust in yourself.
The women in Steel Magnolias that I work with, they are really admirable, and they do. Lisa's taught me so much about sort of, I guess, branding in a way. She hasn't intentionally been like this, but what in terms of like publicity and how you hold yourself and what you say and what you don't say and all those kind of things, and everything is out there forever now with the internet, and we need to remember that. And if you don't want it to be out there in 10 years, then maybe don't write it right now or submit it now. For example, like about my mum, I lost my mum in 2023, and a lot of the media that I get asked to do majority will be about the show that I'm currently doing, but then one question will be about my mum, and then I'll see the article come out in a newspaper or somewhere, and it'll all be about my mum.
Yes.
The clickbait will be about mum. And obviously I love my mum, and I'm an ambassador for Dementia Australia, and I will be forever. Like, I will always be an advocate for dementia and spreading awareness for it. But I also don't want, you know, everything to I don't want to be used as kind of tragic clickbait, because although I did lose my mum at 31, there's so much more to me than that.
Yes.
And there's, you know, I'm trying to advertise a show that I want people to buy a ticket to, which kind of doesn't really have anything to do with the fact that I lost my mum at 31, even though it is kind of, you know, there is a similarity in the tragedy. But Lisa taught me a wise lesson in that to always sort of consider, how do you want to be perceived, and what do you want the future to sort of continue to, and that was a good lesson.
When I was filming Home and Away, I had a similar experience to you. My brother passed away while I was shooting the show, and I guess because the three of us are just open human beings, we like to share. We're caring people, and you don't think there's anything wrong with that when it's the first time you're going through something big like that. So, of course, I shared that my brother passed. And then you're going through this enormous grief whilst at the same time having to work and navigate the media, and then writing stories about your brother passing, or in your case, your mum passing, and you wanting to advocate for that and spread awareness. In my case, it was brain cancer. In your case, it's dementia. But there comes a point where you just want to grieve alone without, it feels like sometimes the media is chasing you, or you can't kind of take a break or come up for air. Is that sort of how you felt?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, to be honest, when I was going through mum's dementia journey, I was approached by Dementia Australia, and I started to do things for them. And then it did become a kind of a media hook, I guess, when I started at Home and Away. And don't get me wrong, I am so grateful for that, because it has helped me spread awareness.
Yeah.
Being in my early 30s and having experienced a parent with younger onset dementia, that felt very isolating to me. And I wanted people out there going through the same thing to know that they weren't alone. And so I utilized that platform. But then I think it's kind of gotten to a point where, you're right, where you do kind of want to grieve on your own, and I definitely have overshared. but it felt like a bit of a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It felt good to share because it felt like I was, I don't know, sharing my grief or dealing with, I used to host, and I probably still will in the future, but I was hosting a lot of memory walk and jog events, which is like a fundraising event for Dementia Australia every year. And so at those events, I would share to thousands of people my personal story about what I went through with my mum. And those events, they were both cathartic, but also so, I'd go home and I'd have a big cry and I'd be like, oh, should I keep doing this? What am I doing? But at the same time, it was so rewarding having people come up to me and say, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story. So it's kind of like this sort of, I guess, double-edged sword. And perhaps we need to find the balance in it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
I remember a very dear friend of mine who's been in the industry for a very, very, very long time said to me, just because you've spoken about something before doesn't give the media permission for you to keep talking about it, which I
That's
loved.
great advice.
So if they bring up something you don't like, you can be like, oh, I'm not here to talk about that today.
Great advice.
They're a bit more like badass than me. I'm a bit more like, oh yeah, meeky and
Same. I'll go, yes, what do you need?
yeah, totally. Oh yeah, you did a question about that. Yeah, I did. Like, but I think we need to sit more in our power and be like, yeah, I was talking about that day because that was important for that day, and I was raising awareness for dementia that day. But today I'm actually talking about Steel Magnolias or whatever it is. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we should just do that and be a bit more badass.
Yeah. I think you're right, Sammy. I think I've also...
You know us, three baddies.
We're so bad.
So bad.
We're coming to get you.
Sorry.
With our charisma hands.
In our sexy school teacher app.
Yeah.
Everyone's really scared.
Okay. All right, I'm feeling it.
I want to talk more about your dad and your mum, if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah.
They just sounded like they just had the most beautiful, loving relationship.
Oh, they did.
When I was reading about it, it just was really inspiring to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to share?
Yeah, no one's asked me that before.
I think because I just was really touched by what you had shared previously. I love to love, and I think it was just, yeah, like I said, it was just really inspiring for me and beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Darling.
out of all the hardship and how hard it would have been to go through losing your mum, I just think what a great love story it was to...
It was a great love story. I have video footage of my parents dancing my dad getting my mum up and dancing with her in the nursing home. And she probably at that point looked about 40 years older than him because, you know, she'd been in the nursing home a while and she had no idea who he was at that point. She'd forgotten who he was many years earlier. But my dad cared for my mum for close to 10 years before she went into a nursing home. And it wasn't until I was living in New Zealand doing 800 words and I came back to Australia and Dad and I were one day we were trying to get Mum out of the bath and we struggled, the two of us, getting this 5-foot woman out of the bath. She was tiny. And the two of us struggled to do it. And it was at that point that I said to Dad, she has to go into a nursing home now. You can't do this on your own anymore. And I think he had to hear that from someone else because he didn't want to let her go. He didn't want to be the one to make the decision to put her in a home where she always said, I'd rather be dead than be in a nursing home. She actually said, clock me over the head with a saucepan before I have to do that. But in order to care for her properly, she needed to go, and he needed respite too. He'd lost his life. He was caring for a woman that didn't know who he was. She was scared of him inevitably as a result of that because she had gone back so far to, you know, a time in her life where she was a child. So looking at this 60-year-old man, she didn't know who he was. She was scared of him. She'd put knives under the bed. Like, it was a very tumultuous time for both of them. But throughout all of it, he continued to love and care for her because that was just what he had to do. And there's so many stories where we met a lot of people along the way in a similar situation, and they'd put their wives or their husbands into a nursing home immediately because they couldn't do it. And each to their own, I shouldn't judge, but they also just kind of would, I guess, push that person away, or they'd go into denial that they were losing that person. My dad did not do that. He would go into that nursing home twice a week to feed her lunch and just to sit with her, even though she had no idea who he was. But occasionally she'd look at him and look at me, and there'd be a glint in her eye, and you could tell that deep down inside she still knew that we were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an extraordinary man.
What a brave man. And just, I thought about it, Jess, because I watched The Notebook on the plane.
Sarah, why would you do that to yourself?
Well, I watched The Notebook and then I read your parents' story, and
my
I
goodness.
just was like, when you watch The Notebook, you think, oh, I just want to love like that. And your parents seemed like they were that. Now I'm crying.
I know.
Your parents seemed like they were that love, and I just think it's so beautiful.
I think he deserves all the credit as well, because, I might be having this career, and like we said, there's all this media around me and my journey with my mum, but I didn't do the half of it. Yeah. He's the one that got her dressed every day, fed her breakfast, lunch and dinner every day. I was floating around the country and around the world, doing all sorts of different things to try and make a career, but I knew and he knew that she wouldn't have wanted me to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did, but I owe him everything, because he gave me the ability to pursue a career. Yeah.
What sort of things does your dad do now for joy?
He plays the ukulele and he loves it so much. He goes to his ukulele groups on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I specifically,
so
I know when to not call him, because I don't want to disturb ukulele, even though I have sometimes in the past. And he also bowls. He plays lawn bowls. He'd like me to probably tell everyone he was the 2022 champion of the Tarwin Lower Bowls Club.
Oh,
so
yes.
He'd love that. And also people made jokes. We actually held my mum's funeral in the Tarwin Lower Bowls Club, and a lot of the bowling men there made fun that he chose that venue specifically because his name's on the wall. And it says Paul Redmayne, bowling champion of 2022. So that was
that's brilliant.
Yeah, he's great. He definitely keeps himself busy, and he started to travel a lot because they never travelled. My parents never travelled together. They were really busy trying to make money and I think provide for me, really. And so now he has the opportunity to travel, so he does a lot of that as well.
Great.
They both just must be so proud of you.
Yay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I know Mum definitely would be, because I'm doing what she wanted for me. She wanted. I think if she had her time again, she would definitely have pursued performing. But her childhood and her life just didn't really set her up for that, and so therefore she kind of set me up for that.
Yeah.
And it's really. Yeah, it's really, I feel really proud every night to stand on that stage and take a bow and kind of look up to the lights and think she's always watching. It's nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I was going to ask you, because Sammy and I have spoken on previous episodes about, it might sound woo-woo, but about feeling our departed loved ones still around. Do you feel your mum?
Definitely.
Yeah.
All the time. Very woo-woo. But in Perth in particular, that theatre is so gorgeous and so old, and it really reminded me, it's His Majesty's Theatre in Perth. It really reminded me of Her Majesty's Theatre in Ballarat, where I grew up dancing, and my mum and I spent a lot of my childhood in that theatre. And in my dressing room in Perth, I started putting my bag and my clothes, when I'd get into costume and whatever, on the big sofa chair that was in my dressing room. And I stopped doing that. I started to put my bag and my clothes somewhere else so that I'd leave it empty for her to sit in.
That's so nice. And she was there.
Which is probably so people are going to think it's ridiculous. But yeah, because I don't know, something came over me and I thought, she's saying, how dare you put your bag on that chair? I could be sitting there. It's quite comfortable. And so I really felt like she was there with me in that particular theatre, just because it was so nostalgic, and it reminded me so much of the memories that we shared together.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that how so some people might not know that you were part of High Five.
Oh my gosh, I learned
Yes.
this yesterday. What?
Yeah.
Is that how you got into High Five? Was it through your mum? Did she encourage you to dance? And
So she definitely encouraged me to dance. Going way back, my dad actually bought me a pony when I was like 4 or 5, because he wanted me to be a horse rider, because he and his brothers were horse riders and they all loved horses, and my cousin was a horse rider. I fell off 3 times and never got back on it. No, I'm not getting – I was terrified. I was so terrified of the
Fair
horse.
enough.
So mum took me to dancing lessons, and that was it. The rest was history. I danced from 5 through to I studied musical theatre at university, because I wanted to sort of – the grand plan after high school was to be a Broadway dancer. I wanted to dance on Broadway. And when I realised I wasn't tall enough for the Moulin Rouge, I thought I want to dance on Broadway. And then I studied musical theatre. And as I was studying musical theatre, I realised quite how hard it is to be a dancer. That's really athletic. But not only that, I didn't really have the capacity to be a singer either, because I wasn't really much of a singer. But I loved acting.
Yep.
And so I increased all the acting. But she definitely sort of paved the way for – she even made all of my dancing costumes when I was young, and she'd stay up all night sequining them. But, yeah, so I danced, and then I studied musical theatre, and then I did a lot of sort of screen acting classes once I graduated musical theatre. And then my first job professionally, because on paper I had danced for 20 years, I actually worked for a company up in Brisbane that did a lot of Nickelodeon shows across Asia in my early 20s. And that's kind of how I started to pay my rent. I would host Nickelodeon shows like Dora the Explorer and SpongeBob and Paw Patrol and all sorts of things all over Asia. So in Indonesia and Singapore and everywhere. And then that led me to being in High Five. I auditioned for High Five, and I did High Five, which, again, was another quite grueling job. We would do like 3 or 4 shows a day for like 13 days straight in an Asian country, and then have a day off and then do another. And then you jump from one Asian country to the other, and you just see the inside of a theatre. You wouldn't even get to explore the country. And so that was hard, and, again, taught me a lot. But, yeah, and then after High Five, I did 800 words, and then that's how I kind of sort of steered my own ship, I guess, more into working in television, because that was sort of the grand goal. I did so many, I did endless classes, acting classes, and to get screen auditions and to book screen jobs, because I wanted to be an actor. I didn't want to dance for children anymore.
Fair enough. I always think that when I think about like the Wiggles, because I've got little kids, so I'm always watching them. I'm like, I wonder if this is what they want to do, or if it's just a gateway to, you know what I mean?
I think some people genuinely like they do. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it at the time, but I knew that wasn't my whole. I didn't want my whole future to be that. I wanted to do gritty television and be a detective, or I don't know, all sorts of things. Get on a horse and. Ironically, get on a horse, even though I'm saying I didn't like horses.
Yeah, you fell off 3 times.
I fell off 3 times.
Also, I saw you on Fisk. You were great. It was a great guestie. I thought you were so funny and fab.
Oh, my goodness. I was so terrified because I was surrounded by comedians.
Yes.
And I watch that now and go, oh, God, I could have done much better. Or you always think that in hindsight. Well, years later when you've learnt more, you're like, oh, let's do it again. Can we retape that? But, yeah, that was great fun. I was really honoured to work with Kitty Flanagan and Marty Sheargold, who you had on the pod, can I tell you, I still am a huge fan of Marty Sheargold. Yes. And when I found out that he was in the show, we did a table read, and I came in for the table read and I sat down, and then Marty sat next to me, and I was like, I was so excited to be working with Marty Sheargold. He's so funny. Such a great man.
Funny. And okay, I'm just going to indulge in this for a little bit. So when they're doing the scripts, are they improving or adding lines?
So I learnt it word for word, because I was, again, take my job really seriously.
Yes.
And so and so I was really sort of diligent learning the script. I remember coming in and Kitty started throwing things, you know, they would improv, and Dave O'Neill was my lawyer, and they would start she would say, oh, can you just change it to this? And so I had to really be switched on, which was great. Like I loved that. It's quite exhilarating. But Kitty would ad-lib, and a lot of that stuff went into the final edit, which was so much fun, because when you get to sit there and watch these extraordinary comedians, you know, do their job, it was really great fun. And it was great to see the final edit, what they choose, because you get to hear all these different ideas and these different things. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks like it would be a lot of fun. It's one of my favourite shows. Gosh, I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you love it.
I
Don't you?
love
You
it.
love Fierce.
I love Fierce.
I love that you fangirled over Marty. Did you say something to him on that first day, or?
Oh, I don't know. I can't even remember. I probably would have said hello and like, you know, and laughed at everything you said.
Marty's the best. I love
He's
him.
so great.
Yeah, he's the best.
A question that we ask most of our guests on the potty. Sammy's laughing at me because I have to spiel.
Know your strengths,
For
know your
this
weaknesses.
question.
That's what I like to say. Go.
Should I use my hands? Put a bit of Ritz in there. If there is a moment in time, and you've already spoken about like a time that really cracked you open, but is there a moment in time that's really like where you've hit rock bottom and you've had to find a way to crack on with life? And what would that be, and how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, rock bottom would have been when I went through a major breakup, and it kind of was like I had the rug pulled from under me because I didn't see it coming. I was probably a bit naive at the time. We'd been together for 8 years. We owned a home together and a dog. And I kind of packed everything up, moved to Sydney, and went and worked as a COVID marshal on a Netflix show.
Did you?
In the crew, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was working on a show called Pieces of Her, which is on Netflix. And I just kind of had to put the pieces of my life back together. I thought I had it all. I didn't realise, but I was attempting to tick societal boxes. And like, you know, have the relationship and buy the home and get a dog. And then the next thing on the list was try to have babies. And what I didn't realize at the time is I needed that rug to be taken from under me, because I wasn't ticking those boxes for me. I was ticking them for society. And even though at the time my heart was smashed into a million pieces and it was so hard for me to get up every day, I needed it. And I really am grateful. And at the time I really wanted to hate him. But I never did. I could never hate him because I knew that he did. I was really I admired his strength for walking away from our relationship, because he needed to do it for him. And he actually did it for me too. But at the time, my mum was in a nursing home. I then lost my partner. I had to take my dog to my dad's house because I no longer had somewhere to live. I had to sell the apartment that I had worked so hard to. You know, my mum, when I was a little girl, she constantly was like, get bricks and mortar because, you know, you need to have something. She would always encourage me to do that. And so I did that. And then that was taken away from me. I had to sell it. And it was almost more devastating to me to have to go back to square one. It was like I was in this video game and I was kind of, again, ticking all these boxes. And then I dropped back to the start. And that was so crushing. And I had to build my life back up again. But I wouldn't be sitting on this couch right now if that hadn't have happened, because I might have, not that having children is bad. I might have 3 kids and not have done the things that we weren't right for each other.
Yeah.
We weren't. And he said something that at the time really killed me when he said it, but we were 2 people just coexisting out of convenience. And I was so devastated when he said that, but he was right. We were. And we needed to shake that up in order to live a rich life. We weren't living a rich life. We were just moving like Sims, like a video game.
Yeah. Great game.
And great game. And now I am doing all these things. I'm in a wonderful new relationship, and I've achieved a lot of the things that I don't think I would have if I kept kind of just ticking those societal boxes. And I'm really grateful for that rock bottom. I needed it. I needed that rock bottom in order to really discover what I actually wanted, what happiness was. I kept filling my days every minute to the brim with having to do stuff, and I was constantly stressed. The cortisol, I was constantly full of stress, and I didn't even realize it. And it wasn't until I had to sit down and I started meditating. I started going, even though I was kind of doing it before, but I started going to yoga. I started to really think, what do I actually want? What do I actually want to do in my life? I want to travel a bit. Why do I keep filling my day with jobs, with like quite literally, if someone offered me a job, oh yes, I'll do it. And I would jump from job to job. I'd have a nap in my car, I'm not even kidding, and go to the next job, not even spending quality time with my partner, because I was so busy trying to make money or trying to have a career or just trying to do all these things without actually stopping and sitting back and going, maybe I'll go to a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go to a yoga retreat, or maybe I'll go and have a nice long lunch with a friend. Maybe I'll have a glass of wine that's just a relaxing glass of wine. Like even back then, I didn't even really drink or have fun or go out dancing. Like I always thought, oh, I can't really be hungover because I've got to work the next day and do this and do that and blah, 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 blah. Holy cow. And I was exhausting myself by doing that. And now I am so active about scheduling rest.
Great. That's so important.
Yeah. And sitting on my phone and looking at Instagram is not rest. Scheduling real rest. And what does that look like? And is it going to coffee with a friend that I know will genuinely make me fill my cup and make me feel when I walk away energized? Or things like that. I never used to actively do that. I used to just, again, tick a box. Oh, I need to see Sarah. I need to see Sam. I would just tick those boxes and get it done. It's like it was a chore, as opposed to really enjoy it.
It's a very valuable lesson, and one that I'm thinking of my friends as you're saying, going, oh yeah, I think they're just going through and I think people don't give themselves permission to stop and reflect and go, hang on a second. What am I doing to fill up my cup? What brings me joy? Resting.
Yeah.
I actually said to Sarah not that long ago, Sarah was she's an incredible actor. I'm not sure if you know. And she's like busy in production. She's doing this, she's doing that. And I was just like, we were going to do a day of recording. I was like, mate, you need a rest, or else you're going to burn yourself out. This is great, but this isn't a priority. Your health is a priority.
Yeah. When do you think I'm just going to turn it into my podcast.
Yeah, I felt that.
Sorry. Oh my God. When do you think you realised what burnout is?
I think it's when I when I get so exhausted that I have to spend the weekend as a sloth and tapped out emotionally and I can't give.
Yeah.
Then I go, I've pushed myself to the limits.
But what age do you think you discovered that?
Oh, yesterday. Truly?
It's a
work in progress.
Work in progress.
And sometimes I burn myself out and go, damn it, I did it again. But I'm much better at it now. And I think particularly having kids, because you don't have a lot of time to yourself and you're constantly getting your energy is I can't even go to the toilet without them going, Mom, and crawling on me, and I'm obsessed and grateful. That's fine. But then I have to say to my partner, I can feel it coming. I'm getting a bit snappier. I'm getting a bit Yeah, like if I start getting a bit snappy at the boys or snappy at George, then I'm like, ew, I don't like this person, gross. And I was like, I need to schedule some Sam time. And he'll be like, great, I'll work from home and you go do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, you guys are good at navigating that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, communication, working. Sometimes we get it wrong.
Yeah.
And then we just try again.
It's all learning and growth, I think. I remember because you said just before, at what age do you think you learnt that? I think I'm still learning. I think hopefully I'll always be learning and growing. But I remember you guys being at my 40th and me making this big speech about, I'm 40 and I finally understand what it feels like to be a woman, and all the ladies that came before me that told me, when you're 40, it'll feel like this. And I felt so powerful and great, and I'd just gone through a huge breakup and I felt like I'd just met myself again. And now I'm turning 42 at the end of this year, and I'm like, was I on crack? I didn't... sure, I felt like I was a different version of myself then, but I'm even different now. I've learnt so much between when I was 40 to now nearly being 42 from all these other experiences. And I think hindsight is a gift, right? And I loved what you spoke about with the rug being pulled out from underneath you, and at the time it feeling devastating. But with time and space, it actually was the greatest gift. And that makes me reflect on my breakup that I had before I was 40. It was a marriage breakdown, and it was gut-wrenching, and I felt like the rug had been ripped from underneath me. But looking back on that, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, ever, 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 ever. I wouldn't be sitting on this couch here. I'd have to limit myself in certain ways, and I'd be a different version of myself. And I'm so grateful that I got to experience that heartbreak. It meant that I had the capacity to love in such a huge context. And also what I learnt about myself is that I'm really resilient. I mean, it gets tiring being resilient, though. I've turned this into my podcast, by the way.
It is your podcast,
It's not untrue what you're saying, though, about when you turned 40 and you did that speech. That speech was extraordinary, and it was true for that moment.
Oh, thank you.
But you're right that we definitely keep learning and growing. Yeah. And I think that's what I have said to people in the past, I can't wait until I hit my 40s or 50s. Imagine what we're going to know in our 50s.
Right.
If this is what I'm saying at 34 about, the things I learned in my 20s, I'm like, I can't wait to learn more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
always get excited as well. I'm the same thing. And if I'm giving out, if someone's asking me for advice, I'm like, and I bet you there's a future version of me that's going, oh, sweetheart, I've taken up smoking. Sweetheart, you don't know anything, Chelsea. And she's so wise and cool. And I'm just like, I know nothing. But I can just give the advice that I think is true now.
Yeah.
And that's the same for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty exciting, isn't it? To think about our older selves.
Yeah.
Like our future selves. Emmy Weir actually says that quite often.
Yeah.
The thing I wanted to the way that I was wrapping up that story in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to tell you that in the moment, it felt like, my world was crumbling. But the thing that got me through was reminding myself that it was all temporary, that feeling is temporary. Or I loved that Susie Porter said that this too shall pass, because I live by that as well. But the thing with things being temporary is that negative things that happen in our life that are devastating are temporary, and you move through them. But also the joyous and the really amazing things, they too are temporary. Like when you have a baby and they're a toddler, or being a baby, they're not a baby. That moment is so fleeting. And even doing a job like Steel Magnolias, I know that it's going to come to an end. And so that too is temporary. And I think it's a real lesson, and I definitely need to practice more of what I preach, because I constantly tell myself, live in the present, Jess. Be present, because I am always in the future. I'm always thinking about what's next, what's happening next week, where I'm going, blah, blah, blah. But I constantly have to remind myself, this is temporary, so enjoy it now.
Yeah.
Or if it's absolutely shit, this is temporary.
Yes.
It'll soon be over.
Yeah. That's right.
Isn't that so beautiful, though, that Shelby, the character that you play, that's what she's all about. And I just think that's so amazing. It's like the universe plopped her in your lap.
Oh my goodness, maybe that's what I've learnt from Shelby.
Yes.
Maybe I don't even realise it.
And you'll carry a bit of Shelby around with you forever now.
Forever.
Isn't that a great thought?
Oh, I think I really needed her.
Yeah.
Off the back of, a big few years, and like to play this really optimistic character. It's been so, it's really sort of seeped. I know we were talking about de-rolling.
Yes.
But like her optimism has definitely seeped into my own everyday life, which is really, I'm really grateful for that.
And we wrap out our podcast, See, this is why you do these bits,
No,
man.
Sammy should say wrap out because we're hardcore.
Wrap out.
Remember, we're bad bitches.
We're
All right,
badass.
I'm going to wrap this bit.
Why is that? Because we say no.
Do it as a wrap. See how that goes.
We wrap up our podcast by asking what's something that's making you really laugh and bringing you joy right now.
I know it's such a shameless plug, and we've already talked about it, but the show, these women that I'm working with, they're so funny. They're so funny. Like, Belinda Giblin just makes me laugh every day. That woman is 76 and she just has the most energy. She's full of charisma. She's just vivacious. And I mean, they all are, Lisa. It's just so wonderful to work with them. They're just so funny, and they really do. They make me laugh every day.
Oh, that's a great answer. And for our final bit, please take a fortune cookie.
I'm
now,
so
can you
excited.
tell everyone what you were saying before the podcast about fortune cookies?
Oh, when I'm feeling a bit out of sorts, I guess, off kilter, I like to say to my witch friends, girls, I'm feeling off kilter. Witches, I say, I'm feeling off kilter, which are my friends of mine that I've been friends with since kindergarten, primary school and high school we went to together. So we've been friends for like over 32 years. And I will turn to a fortune cookie if it's in sight. If I'm like randomly somewhere and I see a bowl, I'm like, okay, I need a fortune cookie. And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, they always give you something, what you need in that moment.
I'm very excited.
Like
for this moment.
recently, it was about, I was worrying about finances naturally, as we do, of course, as actors, because you're always kind of like, what's the next job? How am I going to make money? Blah, blah, blah. And I was sort of stressing about that. And I pulled a fortune cookie and it said, don't worry about the budget.
What?
Or something like that. But it said the word budget, and it was something in, the phrase of, don't worry about the budget. It'll all be fine.
Yes.
Why? What job's coming?
Yeah. Please do.
Ooh.
So I know there's a lot of pressure for our fortune cookies.
I know. I really hope it's accurate.
Oh, gosh. You take
Oh. Okay. A smile will gain you 10 more years of life.
Isn't that what we were talking about?
What?
That's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I walked through my 20s so grumpy and next thing, busy. And that's the lesson. A smile will gain you 10 more years of life.
So great.
And you have a beautiful smile.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, sempre stop it. This has been so fun. Thank you. And cathartic.
Thank you so much for being so open and honest and sharing all your stories and
course.
inspiring us.
And you're so beautiful and talented and amazing. You're amazing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Stop.
Keep
My
spreading
head's not
that
going to fit
smile.
out the door. Thank
love
you.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.